Hello there, thanks for tuning in. This is a video to show the Deeptech Vista RG1000 in action. I was given this by a guy in our metal detecting club who had it sent by Deeptech to do a bit of a test on. Admittedly, compared to a lot of so-called modern detectors, it looks a bit basic. But the most important thing is what's in here, the guts of the machine. Can it find good coins? Will it eliminate trash? And will you enjoy using it? If you stay tuned, you'll find out. First dig. Got no way of knowing how deep this is. And that's a big old bullet. Hey! Get in there. Second dig of the day, and it's a 1919 shilling. God, it took me all day to find silver the last time I was out, and that was with the Etrac. That's awesome. Very good. It was about 6-7 inches deep as well, so it was a reasonable depth. Gave a nice clear signal. I'm pleased with that. I don't believe it. Why can't I do this with my detector? This is the strange thing. I must just have hit a hot spot. This is a bit that I haven't done yet. But there's a 1943 sixpence, which is quite a small coin. It's down probably about 7 inches or so. And the machine still gave a reasonable signal. It was a little bit fainter than the last one, but still give a pretty good signal. Certainly, you know, a signal worthy of a dig, and a dig worthy of silver. Excellent. It's an old toothpaste tube by the looks of it. That gave a good signal. Right, with this machine, I've been in this tiny little area here, from where those daffodils are to roughly here. I found 3 coins, 2 of which were silver, a couple of bullets, and there's another signal here. Don't know what it is yet, but it seems to be a hell of a lot just in this little area. And I haven't dug any rubbish yet, no rusty iron. So hopefully this won't be rusty iron. And it's another one of those big old bullets. So still no rusty iron. I've got the discrimination set at about 15-20%. So far it's working very well. Nice strong signal. So I'll give it a dig. actually a washer, that. I don't know whether it's been zinc coated at some time, but I would have expected it to reject that. Although I've got the discrimination set very low, so I suppose it can be forgiven. This is another very strong signal. There's a mark of a coin there, so I think this is the first. Yep, this is the first copper of the day. George V halfpenny, in reasonable condition. And this one is a more modern sixpence, 1948, no silver, hence the terrible condition. Another stable, strong two-way signal. So, give this one a dig as well. Well, I can see straight away this is silver as well. There it is. And it's a sixpence again. That one's a good 6-7 inches down. It's lying flat, so obviously it's going to give a better signal than if it's on its side. But for a little thin sixpence made of silver in 6 or 7 inches of soil, that gave a very, very good signal. This signal isn't as strong. No. In fact, it's very faint. But it's still saying there's something there, so I'm going to give it a dig and see what's there. Yet another coin, another threepenny bit, at about 6 inches or so. Not bad. Lump of lead, can be forgiven for that. That's a 2.2 bullet casing. Honestly, I do not believe it. Another piece of silver, a 1918 sixpence. Another sixpence, not silver unfortunately, but a very small coin, approximately 6 inches depth. Right, I've been using this in discrimination mode with very little discrimination. You can see there, that goes all the way around to there. I don't like to run with much discrimination. Sensitivity's pretty high, volume's all the way up because I'm not using headphones for the purposes of this test. So I've had the discrimination on, and this is quite a choppy signal. Doesn't sound as clean as the other ones. So switching to all metal, you notice there's a lower tone coming in there. Now, not being familiar with this machine, I can't say exactly for sure what's under the ground. I would imagine that it was iron, rusty iron of some sort, so I'm going to give it a dig. And it's a fairly well rusted 2.2 shell. So The audio on that wasn't as clear, and when I switched to all metal it gave the lower tones, which, I don't know, I maybe shouldn't dig the lower tones. I haven't been digging them so far, but I was not going to dig that, but I thought I would, just for the purpose of a test. It turns out to be rubbish. Here's another sort of a nasty signal. Very choppy and intermittent. Not as smooth as some of those other ones. So by switching to all metal, I can check if whatever's given the signal is actually registering in the discriminated part. Hear the lower tone? All metal. And although I've only used this machine for 45 minutes maybe, I'll bet that there's rubbish under there. Big lump of rusted iron. Obviously no need to dig that. The machine was telling me not to dig it, but by switching to all metal, I checked, realised it was rubbish, didn't need to dig it. Good discrimination. Dear God, I do not believe it. Yet another silver sixpence, 1921, George V. Very good indeed. That one, again, about 6 inches. Old halfpenny, approximately 6 inches deep. Ah, big old penny. 1919, George V. I was wondering when the big pennies were going to make an appearance. Normally, I find more of these than anything. This is the first one I've found so far. But I don't really care because I found so much silver. Ooh, big old lump of coke. Big lump of coke. That gave a really good signal. It's actually the first bit of coke I've dug on this site. A big old penny, early 1900s. Oh, actually it's not early 1900s. I was just guessing there. It's actually a late Victoria in reasonable condition. And the date is 1900. Another big old penny there. Whose is this one? I can't see. 1928, must be George V. So there's an old penny here, George V. This dig here was a Victorian penny, and that dig there was a milk bottle top. So fairly close proximity. Target ID, very good. Oh, hey! 2 for the price of 1. That's the first twoozer I've had today. Big old Edward the, what's that, 6th? Or was he the 7th? I forget. Edward the 7th, so very early 1900s. And that one looks worn away to knout, so probably about the same age or older. Another old halfpenny. George V. 1912 halfpenny. George V halfpenny. That's interesting. There's a rock here which is given a reading, hot rock of some sort. There's also an old penny. Still gave a good signal, even though there was a rock in the hole. Another halfpenny, George V. Big old lump of copper. Another huge lump of coke. George VI penny. 1950, can't be right, 1957. 1937. And another one. 1921, George V. Here's one the moles have been kind enough to dig up. 1945 shilling, George VI. That gave a strange signal, that one. This is the molehill where I found that shilling. Gone back over it again and there's another signal. That's probably why it was given a strange signal the first time. Yep, George V, halfpenny. That was in the ground. The shilling was on the top next to it. That's probably why it gave a strange signal. Absolute craziness. I was just walking back because I'm actually late for where I need to be today. Carrying the machine alongside me. Found a 1944 sixpence. I've now found more silver than I found on any other day. And I think I've only been here about 2.5 hours. I'm very, very, very impressed. So, I've been here about 2.5 hours. This is the machine I normally use, Etrac, with an 18x15 coil. This is the machine I've been using today, the Vista RG1000. And I found more silver today than I found any other days. May have just hit lucky spots, maybe the machine, I don't know, but I don't know whether there's 7 or 8 silver coins, pennies, a lot of good finds. There's another 2 silver in here. A lot of good finds and hardly any trash. Big lump of coke there. Don't need that. It's a bottle I found, not with the detector. So these are the finds. A lot of good finds. Found that ring earlier on, that was with the other detector, in a different part of the field. That's really the only trash that I've dug for all of that. Very, very good. And to be honest, I probably would have dug half this trash with an Etrac. So that's the copper. They're all silver. Very good hunt. Now when I got this machine, it's actually come with a little coil, about 5 inches, which I imagine would be very good for doing contaminated parks. This coil looks to be 10-11 inches, and it was getting down to a reasonable depth, and it found lots of good finds today, so I'm very impressed. Sixpence, shilling, sixpence, 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 shilling, all silver. Old pennies ranging from Victoria through to George the VI. Half pennies, most of them I haven't even bothered cleaning up, be the same sort of era. 2 bullets, an arrow tip, modern one though, 2 threepenny bits, 2 modern sixpences, which are pretty manky, and a little button. Very, very little trash dug, and proportionally a lot of silver. The most silver I found in a whole day's hunt is 6. I managed 7 in 2.5 hours with that machine. Don't know whether I hit a hot spot or what, but very impressed.